Now we move over to the United States, where we have a developing story here. A tragic incident in Kootenai County, Idaho, where 2 firefighters have been shot dead while responding to a brush fire. Authorities say the firefighters were killed with a high-powered rifle, prompting a massive law enforcement response. The situation has been tense, with a SWAT team discovering a deceased man and a firearm on Canfield Mountain. During a recent press conference, the Kootenai County Sheriff confirmed that the shelter-in-place warning has been lifted, and preliminary investigations indicate that there was only one shooter. However, authorities have cautioned the public as the wildfire remains active, and there are still concerns about the possibility of another active shooter in the area. Helicopters equipped with heat-seeking technology have been deployed to assist with the search, but thick smoke from the wildfire is hindering efforts. The FBI is also providing additional support as part of the ongoing manhunt. Local officials are urging residents to remain prepared and vigilant as the situation remains fluid. We're now joined by our guest Shruti Das-Gupta, who is a foreign affairs expert. Shruti, how do you think this attack will change local firefighting efforts and emergency response protocols in rural America, and what kind of challenges do people face in these type of regions and scenarios?
Thomas, it's going to be really difficult for firefighters to go out in the field and do their job with complete security of life and limb. They already put their lives on hold when they walk into a fire where everybody else is fleeing. When such a situation occurs, it kind of shakes their faith in the humanity that they're trying to save. And the cost is not just borne by the people of that particular county, but everybody else. The firefighters will no longer have faith in the people that they would like to rescue from the fire that is consuming them. This kind of a incident would, of course, tighten gun norms, scrutiny, and all other rhetorics that are going to follow after this particular shooting incident. I would assume that any kind of fire would then now include digital surveillance of drones, heats, and other things to ensure that the lives of firefighters are no longer a danger. People themselves among the community would look at every fire as a possible source of, I would like to call this terrorism, although that's not directly a cross-border terrorism, but it does terrorize the people that are in that area. So such a kind of incident terrorizes minds and souls and scars the entire community, and every fire will be looked at suspiciously because they would continue to relate to it to an incident where firefighters who went to shut down the fire were in fact facing additional bullet fire. So it's a very difficult situation, and my condolences to the people who have lost their lives and those who are injured.
Yes, and Shruti, we see shooting incidents in the United States on a regular basis. Some occur in schools, some in districts throughout the United States. Now we see a shooting on firefighters. How does this reflect the state of America in regards to its gun laws, and how untractable this issue has really become?
If I go back in history, Thomas, to why the gun laws were actually allowed in the first place, the right to bear arms came with the Civil War of United States, where the South ceded to the North, and but with the caveat that they would continue to defend their land by the power of the arms that they bear. So removing that would removing this particular caveat of right to bear arms would lead to larger pushback by the public of America. Although the gun crimes continue to accelerate, I think it would, this is a story that is developing, so we do not know who exactly is this man. There are two particular theories that I know that have been floating around on the social media and the airwaves. One of them is that it's a former US National Guard who has done his tour, who is suspected to have vanished in that area. And he is also allegedly involved in the murder of his own daughters. I believe his name would be Travis Decker. And this is one particular theory that is floating around, unconfirmed, as I might say. The other
Yes.
theory is that it might be an illegal immigrant, an ISIS sleeper cell that was activated after the fatwa issued by the Iranian regime against anybody that threatens the supreme leader. So I'm torn between these two. The fact that the fire was lit to draw in firefighters and then shoot at them shows that it is an establishment kind of an action, and that kind of shows that the public no longer has a large amount of public in US no longer has faith with the administration and the civil authorities around, and it's a very distressing situation for US to be in.
Yes, indeed. I just want to reiterate to our viewers that these are merely theories about the information that we have so far. However, Shruti, what we can't get away from is the fact that this person, whoever has perpetrated this, has been allowed a gun, and should local governments invest more in community mental health outreach to prevent such tragedies happening? There are some mental health checks in place in order to purchase a gun in certain states. Of course, the shooter it's very probable that he did acquire the weapon illegally. However, there are some laxes when it comes to mental health checks in the United States. What are your views when it comes to that in regards to the US gun laws?
Well, it's not just the US gun laws. As you've just rightly pointed out, it's a mental health issue. Holding a gun, having a licensed gun is not really a reason to go out and start shooting people. The reason comes from within the person. The US society itself is, I find, from my perspective, to be disintegrating. The connection between people, the support systems is no longer as strong as it should have been. And that leads to a sense of isolation or disconnection that might lead to violence in this particular format. When we talk of school shootings, when we talk of mass murder, this is exactly the kind of mindset that comes forth, that they no longer, because it's not an outsider in any of these cases that is perpetrating actions against Americans, it's an American person themselves. So mental health is definitely an issue that should be focused on, because holding an arm does not necessarily mean that you're going to shoot the first person that crosses your path. But in case you're mentally unstable, that firearm turns into a very dangerous weapon and should not be issued. So I guess this is one particular aspect the US arms lobby should look at, that only licensed arms should be sold to those who have had a mental health checkup, and those who do hold licenses need to regularly visit psychiatrists or any other mental health clinic to get an affirmation once a year, once in 6 months, to show that they do not have tendencies of going down a rabbit path which might lead to mass murder or even this particular kind of incident. So that is something which, it's an addendum that should help US society as a whole.
Shruti Dasgupta, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and we will bring you all the updates of that developing story going on in Idaho.